build your presence. So now that you've got an idea of your personal brand in those 3 words, you can start to build your presence. Anywhere that you appear, anywhere at all, needs to reflect your personal brand so that you attract the right clients, and it all needs to be consistent. Before I go any further, it really is not necessary to go and create a load of expensive branding and logos. It can really, really set you back, and it is not necessary. You might want to do it eventually, but for now, please don't spend a lot of money. It is nice to have something that looks a bit professional. So what are the things that I'm talking about? Your design. That is simply some kind of logo. It could be your name as a logo or whatever your company name is. The colors should reflect the things that the image that you want to give, and the typeface. It's easier than ever to design something that you like yourself, as long as you've got a flair for it. If not, you can get really good designers on outsourcing websites, and we will give you recommendations in the resources section of the site for up-to-date. You can just go in there and we will give you up-to-date recommendations. We do that so you don't have to ferret around over the internet to try and find good people. So here are the rules about this. Please do not spend a lot of money. Please do not spend a lot of time, and make sure that you check out the resources section. So professional photos is the next piece. It's a really good idea to have photos taken professionally if you can. At TMS, we have a photo session every year, and we strike a number of poses so that we can use up-to-date photos all over whatever we do, and everything, hopefully looks professional and fun, and and reflects our image. At the very least, you need a decent headshot, which follows the 5 Fs. So here are the 5 Fs. Face. We need to see your face turned fully towards the camera. Focus. It needs to be in focus so that we can see you properly. I know that sounds obvious, but believe me, it doesn't appear to be obvious to quite a few people. Frame. It needs to fit fully into the frame. So when we're talking about headshots, you need to think a bit for things like social media profiles, like Facebook. You want a nice headshot that goes into the round frame in Facebook. It should be friendly. You need to be smiling. People are attracted to smiling faces. And it needs to be flattering. So not like dark on one side and, whatever. Spend time thinking about your clothes, your hair, your makeup, and lighting, of course. And to be honest, you can take a really good photo all on your own on a phone. Just like this kind of thing, they take really good photos now. So, you don't need to worry about professional people if you don't want to. Social media personal profiles. Okay, so as you no doubt know, there are multiple social media sites that you can appear on. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter how private your settings are, and they should be, obviously. Your prospects will find your personal profile if it exists. People are now using Facebook to look up people instead of Google. So even if your settings are private, everyone can see your profile picture and your banner in the case of Facebook, and probably most other social media platforms. So it's really important to think this through. You may be unwittingly repelling prospects with a profile picture of something that is not you. And honestly, it is astounding what profile pictures people put up. So in a separate video, we will put up in detail how to set up your personal profile on Facebook so that you maximize privacy and attract clients. So look at that video will be after this one. Okay, so social media business page. Well, the great thing about social media now is that you can pretty much run your business on it. You can create what amounts to a mini website absolutely free. And we highly recommend that you set up a business page on Facebook and any other social media where you know your clients are spending time. Please note, where you know your clients are spending time. And you do that before you invest in a website. If you've just got started, please don't spend money on building a website. In 6 months' time, it's extremely unlikely that you won't have changed your mind. So it's extremely likely you will have changed your mind about quite a few things to do with the fundamentals of your business, actually, those foundations that we talked about right at the beginning of this training. Very likely that you will have tweaked or changed your niche or whatever. You'll have to redo it, and it's costly and time consuming. So instead, set up a business page on Facebook. So that is what to do. You will please see the separate video on how to set up your Facebook business page to maximize your attraction, which will be again after this video. So, a new website. Now, I've just mentioned the fact that we need to ask, do you really need a website? And the answer, of course, is it depends. As I just said, don't spend money on a website until you fully work through your foundations and are ready to go to the next phase. You know, there is no doubt that a website is an important element of your business building toolkit, but only after those foundations are in place. The key to success as a therapist lies in the areas that we've explored with you. An expensive website, spending money on search engine optimization, and that is a lot of money to do that. Getting yourself up the Google rankings, it's not the best or easiest way to build your business, especially, again, if you don't have your foundations in place. You know I said it multiple times. I will continue to say it. People throw money down the drain. Advertising on Google, trying to work their way up at all the enigma that is all those spiders and crawly things that go over your websites. Honestly, it is a hiding to nothing until you get things absolutely right. So, if you do choose to develop a website, please make sure that it's got the following components. So I'm going to go through that. So eventually you will have a website and it needs to do the following. Firstly, it needs to match the messaging and personality of everything else. One of the common mistakes on websites is that there's a mismatch between your image on social media and then your image of, and even worse, your messaging on your website. The reason this happens, I think, is because of fear of niching. You just can't help trying to appeal to everybody on your website because you only want to do it once. So people just do some dreadful general thing talking about the type of therapy they do, not the result. And so, of course, I get on my soapbox about all of that. But actually, you're doing yourself more harm than good if you do that. One of our students had a really nicely niched Facebook business page on managing diabetes without drugs. Really fabulous. I was like, oh, cool niche, lovely. And then when I clicked through to her website, it was a general site about hypnosis with testimonials from people who had had anxiety and this, that, and the other. It's confusing. It's really confusing for clients to get that mismatch. And it's because people aren't brave enough to go, no, that's what I'm doing. So be brave, please. Because a confused client does not buy. Second thing it needs is a video. Now, a shortcut to creating your brand presence on a website is to have a short video of you on the homepage. That way, your prospects can get to know you and you can style your surroundings according to how you want to be perceived. The structure of your introductory video, which should be about 1 minute long, is in the vault. So go ahead and have a look at that and look at the structure. Thirdly, talk about the client, not you. I've said in the mistakes that people make before that there's far too much I language on people's websites. Use your story that you went through in the foundation phase to connect with them and show how much you understand them. Include testimonials. Social proof is the most powerful sales tool you have. And I'm going to go into them in detail in a minute. You need a way to capture the details of your prospects. Again, we're going to come back to this in the attract phase, and it's not necessary at first. And your contact details need to be on there. Make it easy for your prospects to get in touch. Printed material. Again, we often get asked, should I have a business card? And the answer is, guess what? If you have your foundations in place, then yes, you can start investing in printed materials. The same rules apply. Be consistent in your branding. Use your elevator pitch on the business card and include a call to action on the opposite side. Now, for those reasons, we prefer to use postcards, for therapists to use postcards because you can get more on them and then they don't get lost in people's handbags. So, testimonials. Okay, really, really important. It is essential that you get testimonials from your clients. They are the single best form of attraction collateral that you have for all those reasons I talked about when I told you about the psychology of buying. Now, we are well aware that some professional bodies discourage the use of testimonials for ethical reasons. We would also encourage you to question that thinking. They can't stop, I'm talking about the professional body, they can't stop a client from posting a review or a recommendation on a third-party platform like Facebook or LinkedIn. And one of the reasons they don't like you doing it is because they don't want the person to be or have felt coerced. If it's on a third platform, that rule doesn't apply. So that is a workaround if you would feel comfortable for using that. Now, the question is what is a useful testimonial? And it's one that speaks to the doubts in the prospect's mind and puts them to rest. Okay? Remember from the videos about selling and buying, it's more likely that the prospect is going to stay on the path of not buying than going off their well-worn path and then buy. Okay? And there are multiple reasons for them not to buy, all of which you've considered by now. So it answers those objections in the prospect's mind and gives them evidence from somebody else. So, although it's really lovely, obviously, to get a testimonial that says, Emma is amazing, but it isn't useful. Prospects want to know that you get results, and the best way to demonstrate you do is testimony from others in the most concrete way possible. So I'm going to give you a structure for a useful testimonial. When I sought help from Amanda, whoever it was, I was suffering from, fill in the blanks. I had these concerns about why you wouldn't seek help, but I decided to work with Amanda because I'm so glad I did, because now I feel and my life is now. There is a copy of that structure in the vault. And so that is there for you to, all the useful documents are in the vault for you to go and say, oh gosh, have they done something which is basically something I can cut and paste? And all of those kinds of documents are in the vault. Directories. Now, by all means, list yourself on a therapist directory if you find that useful, and some people really do. But you know what? The reason they find it useful and attracting clients is because they follow what we teach. As I have already mentioned, therapy directories are full of profiles of therapists who look like they're competing for the prize of best qualified. Your prospect does not understand or care about your qualifications beyond the fact that you are qualified, of course. They care about themselves, their problem, and whether or not you can help them. They need to understand what you are writing, and they need to know that you specialize in one thing and not everything, so that you stand out. Okay? And this needs to be reflected in that profile, even if you think it makes you look less professional, less qualified, or something than the other therapists listed. Believe me, you will be the one laughing when you start attracting all the clients. You will find how to write a directory profile that gets you clients template in the vault. So in summary, we have now come to the end of the build stage of the therapist client attraction system. Apart from those 2 videos on how to set up your Facebook profile and how to set up your Facebook business page. Congratulations! You have now built on your foundations and are ready to attract.